Hi, this weekend I went to the cinema and I saw Monkey Man, the directing debut from Dev Patel, who also co-writes, co-produces, and stars. It's the story of a young man living in a city in India, deeply riddled with poverty. There's a huge divide between rich and poor, and he seemingly has a plan to ascend to a position of where he will be able to exact some kind of justice, some kind of revenge against people who've wronged him. And in flashbacks, it's revealed exactly why he holds such a grudge against the police chief and a guru who holds great political influence. The film is vaguely inspired, I think, by John Wick films. It has a certain kinetic energy very comparable to that film's action scenes, and it name checks the John Wick movies as well. Um, this was something of a disappointment because although Patel is clearly a skilled director and a great actor, well, that's really not terribly surprising. The script is far too weak. The structure of it is very loose and vague, and although Patel is clearly aiming to make points about economic division and politics and levels of influence, and even comments about transgender people, which he is very supportive of, clearly from the film's context. Um, and all these are very laudable, and not that I have an issue with any of them, but they are so poorly expressed by a script that really struggles and really stumbles in trying to tell its story. It does suffer somewhat in that I actually happened to watch the first John Wick film again the day before I saw this. So I was flattered by having that very clear, concise clarity of the story of that film compared to this, where there is so much obfuscation and information doled out slowly, and the very fast paced opening act, and then a very, very slow, slack second act where your attention really starts to wander. It really becomes a problem. Um, as I said, I was impressed by the action, although the photography and the choreography were in places quite weak. It was often quite hard to see what was happening in scenes, and that really diminishes the impact of Patel seemingly doing so many of his own stunts, as well as directing, as well as having co-written and co-produced the movie. It's really his show, and it's very impressive that he's achieved this. Having read about how the production was very troubled, and that it was bought up by Netflix that was planning on dumping it, and then Jordan Peele happened to see it, thought it was extraordinary, didn't want it just to disappear into the algorithm stew, um, so persuaded Universal to buy it up for $10 million, as much as its original budget, even though Netflix had paid $30 million, and it's made its budget, it's made Universal's expenditure back in its opening weekend, which is terrific. I mean, I would hope that Patel is able to build on this, and with a potential second film, have a much stronger, more focused, more clearly thought out script, and learn from the weaknesses of this film. As it is, it's not something that I can wholeheartedly recommend. It's not bad by any means, but I think it's been overhyped somewhat. And although it's gratifying to see something quite different and something that addresses serious issues in an interesting and unusual way, to see something like that get such a big platform and be relatively successful, it's not quite as good as it could have been.